Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's IC Realtime webinar. In today's webinar, we will be discussing IC Realtime's Elite line. This is a continuation of a series of webinars that goes over our different product lines. This is going to be our highest level product line. I will say this is probably going to be one of our shorter webinars, as we're just covering the Elite line as opposed to the entire line altogether. I have muted everyone's microphone, but I will field any questions anyone might have at the end of the webinar. My name is Michael Caballero. I'm one of the national sales executives here at IC Realtime, and let's get started. So like I said, we're going to be talking about IC Realtime's Elite line cameras and recorders. So with IC Realtime, over 20 years of experience with professional integrators has taught us what works in the real world. IC Realtime offers a variety of product lines while still maintaining legendary video quality across the spectrum, whether it's a high-end installation that spares no expense or system with budget limits and cost constraints. IC Realtime has the gear to fit them all. So like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about our Elite line. And also, like I mentioned, this is going to be a series that covers all of our different lines, including our Edge line, which is our entry-level cost-competitive line, our Max and Flex line, which kind of meets in the middle, Max having fixed lens camera and Flex having varifocal lens, and then our Elite line, which covers many of our high-end cameras and recorders. So what is the Elite line? Elite line basically is going to be any of our 4K expanded selections, so 8 megapixel cameras, 360 fisheye cameras with video dewarping, any of our panoramic cameras or our multi-lens cameras as well, our thermal hybrid cameras, technology using facial recognition, people counting, and heat mapping, advanced AI auto tracking on our PTZs, and up to 128 channel recorders. So where does this fit in with the market? It fits in with many different aspects of the install market: luxury and high-end residences, farms and compounds, 4K media room installations, high security areas, warehouse and fulfillment centers, detention and correctional facilities, high capacity public venues, and special used and customized installations. So here's some of the technology that you're going to get baked in. So really on the right side here, we have our standard analytics. That's going to be our intelligent motion detection, our tripwire detection alerts, along with our perimeter protection, tripwire being single digital lines and perimeter protection being creating areas of interest. And then you have our advanced analytics, and that's going to be our facial detection and recognition, our heat mapping, which is generally utilized for your commercial installs at retail locations, and generally it's going to be the same thing with people counting. You're going to have that generally in a situation where it's going to be more on the retail side. So some of the elite capabilities you're going to see here: ultra long range power zoom lenses and PTZs. So your 40 times optical zoom, your 45 times optical zoom with that advanced tracking, 180-degree panoramic and 360-degree situational cameras. So that'll be our panel line of cameras, which are generally going to be 4 2-megapixel lenses stitched together to give you a 180-degree field of view. And then our 360 cameras, which are our fisheye lens cameras that allow you to do software dewarping to cover a specific area with just a single camera. And next would be laser and smart IR night vision illuminators for long range beyond 600 feet IR all the way up to 1600 feet. Black, white, and stainless steel options, advanced IP and coax cameras and recorders with native 4K ultra high definition. So you're looking at your 8 megapixel cameras, FlexSmart AI full suite. So that's going to be what we just talked about, our advanced analytics along with our focused analytics as well. And then compatible with our other lines. And you can utilize these cameras even with our MX or FX recorders as well. Now, our elite recorders are going to be our EL1616, our 6032, 6064, and then our EL128. It's going to give you HD AVS and IP-based cameras and recorders. These are going to have your native 4K 8 megapixel ultra high definition video output. You're going to see these recorders running up to 384 megabits of throughput and video processing. You can have, again, from 16 channels all the way up to 128 channel recorders. And these are going to give you larger internal storage bays for our 6016, 32, and 64. That's going to give you up to 80 terabytes of storage with 8 SATA ports. Our 128 is going to give you 128 channels with 16 hot swappable drive bays supporting up to 10 terabytes, giving you 160 terabytes of storage. You're going to get your dewarping here at the head end. So that means that you're going to be able to dewarp our 12 megapixel and 5 megapixel fisheye lenses directly from the recorder without having to use the software. If you were using Edge or FX or MX recorders, you would have to do that dewarping through software. Flex Smart features, along with our 10-year limited warranty. So here's a couple of examples of our 12 megapixel camera. Here is our 12 megapixel with your IRs on. And here's some of our people in vehicle detection in action coming from our IPEL P8040X. So as you can see here, we have full tracking on the vehicle at higher speeds, not getting tripped up by other moving vehicles or trees swaying in the wind, and keeping locked on to the subject of interest. And here's our object tracking of people. So as you can see, very good tracking, maintaining coverage on the object from both entry into exit. Here's our panoramic functionality. So this, again, this is 180-degree field of view with 4 lenses stitched together, also allowing you to use tripwires and intrusion zones in your perimeter protection. As you can see from some of these still image here, this is from the back of our building. You have a wide coverage area with that 180-degree field of view, as well as you can see here on the bottom. Now, this bottom image is from a previous version of our panoramic camera. However, what it does for you now is our bullet style camera now gives you the same field of view up here. So you have a much less narrow field of view and a much broader field of view and coverage area. And this is an example of our fisheye lens cameras. So as you can see, you're always recording in that fisheye area of interest. And then once you've specified your mounting style, you can then dewarp that image. So as you can see, now we're dewarped here with 4 different fields of view, and you can virtually pan, tilt, and digitally zoom in these areas of interest, giving you full coverage of an area with no blind spots. Now, one of the advantages here with this fisheye technology is that not only can you do this in live view, you can also do this in playback as well as exported video as well. And again, this comes in a 5 megapixel as well as a 12 megapixel version. Here's our thermal imaging, some examples of our thermal imaging camera. These are dual lens cameras. So with that, you have a natural field, natural image, and you also have a thermal image as well. Now, the advantage with thermal, as you can see here, is that you're able to see through landscaping and agriculture to capture your object, which you generally wouldn't be able to capture if you were using just a traditional lens camera. So that's a huge advantage there. That's what I've utilized it for some of my dealers. Of course, with our full line, whether you're using our Edge line or our MX or FX line or our Elite line, you have access to free design layouts. If you need a design layout, all you need to do is reach out to your specific sales executive, give them all the details that you require, a floor plan or a Google Earth shot of the location, and we can create a design layout that shows you coverage areas, mounting positions, as well as dooring distances, giving you a lot more advantage when it comes to closing a bid, as opposed to your competitors who may not have a layout for their end user. And then home automation and integration with Savant, Control 4, Elan, Crestron, Josh AI, as well as RTI. So again, we have our complete video solution, your Edge line for simple dependability at a cost competitive price point, your MX for wide angle lenses, along with FlexSmart AI, your FX for varifocal lens cameras with FlexSmart AI, and then our Elite line, which we just covered here with the best of the best of all of our technologies put together. So now what I'll do is I'll take any questions anyone might have. I do ask that if you have any questions, you go to the top of your Zoom meeting, you go to the Q&A tab, you can enter any questions in there, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Mike, great question. How does people counting work? People counting utilizes our tripwire technology. So you're able to draw a specific area of interest and enter whether it's an exit or an entry. This is a digital line drawn on screen. Once that digital line is drawn, of course, you're going to utilize that camera, generally going to be at a threshold, so an entry or an exit. And when someone enters through that area, in either direction, it's going to be counted to move through. I highly suggest utilizing a camera above that directly above that threshold, looking straight down, and then you can draw your line there for more accurate counting. But I have utilized cameras that are adjacent to the entry and still got pretty good coverage there. So low temperature, if you're talking about operating temperature for those Elite line cameras, are going to be generally minus 33 degrees Fahrenheit. Generally, optimum distances in terms of coverage area for the 360 camera are going to be about 60 feet in circumference from the mounting point of that camera, where you can generally identify somebody. Of course, you have digital zoom as well, which gives you a few more feet of coverage. 360-degree cameras take up one channel on any recorder. We do have multi-lens cameras that do occupy multiple channels. For example, we have a dual lens multi-lens camera, a single cable run. However, it does occupy 2 channels. And we have a quad lens multi-lens camera, again, single cable run, occupies only 1 port on a switch, but occupies 4 ports on a 4 channels on a recorder, but the fisheye is a single channel. Everything on this webinar is available at dealer cost. If you need the most up-to-date dealer price sheet, reach out to your national sales executive here at IC Realtime, and they'll be more than happy to accommodate you with that dealer price sheet. My pleasure, Joe. All right, it looks like no one else has any questions at this time. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on today's IC Realtime webinar. My name is Michael Caballero. I'm one of the national sales executives here at IC Realtime. Have a fantastic day and stay safe.